All right, this is going to be another game of Tezuka versus Cookie that I didn't quite catch live that will sort of focus on the narrative of the game. I had paid attention to the last one while it was happening. I don't think I paid attention to this one. Per usual for games I'm not catching live, I'm going to focus less on doing analysis and focus more on doing kind of narrative. What are they trying to create and does it make sense to me? So for a second game in a row, Tezuka starts with a relatively weak corner. You'll notice he had two 8-7-6-5s for the same corner, so the rest of his hand is fairly happy to see this. The 9-9 opposite corners both are, at least half happy to face this corner. The other 8-7-6-5 is certainly happy, and the 8-2-8-7 is kind of half happy. Maybe a little less than half. It really wants to be going left, but none of the cards are that unhappy to see this. Cookie goes in 5. This sets up a same in 2. No particular synergy in 4. And one thing I'd note is Cookie doesn't have safety in either 2 or 4, and Tezuka does in 2. So I'm a very actually sorry, Cookie does have a plus in 6. Sorry, I said 4 a bunch, I meant 6. Tezuka has safety in 2. So one thing I always look to do here, because it's the type of player I am, is can Tezuka force the action with 9-5-2-9 and 2? With the idea that either card Cookie plays in 6, either 7-6-6-6 or 8-3-7-8, we're gonna take that with 8-2-8-7, and then we have two pretty good sweepers in 2-9-9-5 and 8-7-6-5 for the endgame here. I think this is probably just a tie, but I really like to play in this way. And I think it's one of those you play this way and you can't really ever lose the game, and I really like to not ever lose the game. Now, Tezuka does not tend to force the action in this way. He tends to play much more focused on synergy. I'm curious what he does. Yeah, so he goes for the far corner play, and you'll notice this sets up 9-5-2-9 to have a plus in 4. And 8-7-6-5 has nice play in 8. It's more important to combo through the card in 5 than it is to combo through the corner card, just because 5 affects more squares. Yeah, this is probably fine. Let's see what Cookie does. 3-9-9-1 and 1. So here I'm going to be somewhat biased because I'm pretty sure Tezuka ends up winning this game. So it's easy for me to be like, Cookie's moves must be wrong. Why are they wrong? But this move really, I think, is the mistake. Because one is, it really sets up 9-5-2-9. 9-5-2-9 is now such a beast in 2 and 4. But the other thing is, this is sort of the tragedy of strong corners. The bigger a corner you have, the harder it is to play near it if the opponent has combo play against it. And the bigger a corner you have, the more the only way they can ever capture it is through combos. If you have an AA corner, they cannot capture it without a combo. Similarly, on this level, if you have a 9-9 corner, they cannot capture it without a combo. So if they do have any captures, it will combo, and suddenly, Cookie cannot go in 2 or 4. Anytime he goes in 2 or 4, Minotaur, or Sacred, I think it's Minotaur, lands in the other of 2 or 4, and is going to flip everything. So, from Tezuka's perspective, he should be just trying to figure out how can I play this such that 2 and 4 are left open for Minotaur. Now, one thing this move of Cookie's did is it does give him combo ways to flip the cards in 3 and 7 from 2 and 4. So if Tezuka tried to force the action with 2-9-9-5 and 6, Cookie could go 6-5-7-8 and 2, and at least it wouldn't combo through to flip 3 when that's comboed back. So there's some ideas like that. I'm curious what Tezuka does. I'm assuming he leaves 2 and 4 open because those squares are so good. Yeah, he does. Now, 2-9-9-5 is a pretty bad card. So the problem for Cookie is if you go in 2 or 4, you get comboed, but if you go in 6 or 8, Tezuka's going to play 2995 in the other of 6 or 8, and Minotaur kills you on final turn. Which means, if you watch the last video where we talked about playing on the diagonal and playing with combos, you got to get rid of the combo early. If you're going to get hit by a huge combo, you have to get hit by it as soon as possible so you have more time to recover. If there's a way for Cookie to survive here, I think it has to be you go in 2 or 4, you force out Minotaur, and you say 2995 just can't do enough final turn. And that means because 2995 can also land in 2. Notice Minotaur is also pretty good in 6. Because 2995 is good in 2 but not good in 4, I think our only hope, we have to go 2. So I'm not sure exactly which card, but for simplicity's sake, let's say 6, 5, 7, 8, and 2. And let's say this forces Tezuka into 9, 5, 2, 9, and 4, which I'm not sure it does, but it's probably pretty close to doing. That's going to flip 1, it's going to flip 5, and it's going to combo through 2. So if you're Cookie there, you have 1 card on board, you're down 7-3. But actually, so maybe this means, because 2995 does flip. Okay, you're down 7-3, but if you can go in 8, you're going to flip 7, making it 6-4. And if you could just flip 5 as well, then 2995 would have no captures and you'd hold 5-5. But you can't flip 5. And if you go 6, you have to combo through 5 to flip something else, which would need to be the card in 2. So maybe the idea is 7, 6, 6, 6, and 2. I'm not going to check everything. I doubt this works. I bet there's a loss somewhere. But the best idea I can come up with is 7, 6, 6, 6, and 2. You don't flip 1. Now, that doesn't matter because 1 is already yours. So Tezuka combos through from 4. He's going to flip everything. So you're down 8-2, but you play 8, 3, 7, 8, and 6. That combos because it has the plus on 3 and 5. That flips 3, that flips 5. It combos through to flip 2. That's 3 cards. You're back to 5-5, and 2995 doesn't flip anything. This is the only possible path to a tie I think could exist. I'm not sure it does tie, but I think that's the kind of logic you have to have. I need to get rid of 2 and 4. I need to make sure 2995 is the dead card at the end, so I need to pick the one of 2 or 4 where 2995 cannot be used. That's 4, so I need to play in 2 to force 4, and then I need to have something that flips enough cards, so I have to figure out the sequence that does it. Again, I'm not sure if this ties, but I actually don't care. I think it's the logic of the move that matters versus whether or not it happens to actually work in this position. Because the logic, I think, is very good. Now, it's going to be really funny when someone's like, no, the tie is actually an 8 if there is a tie. But I think this logic is sound. Whether or not it happens to get a tie in this position does not mean the logic isn't the more important thing, because you're never going to have this exact position, but you will have times you need the logic. Let's see what happens. Cookie goes for 8, so now Tezuka should play 2995 and 6, and 9529 just flips everything. Again, this is the tragedy of the strong corner, is that if they have combo play against it, it is a huge weakness. And you kind of need to get rid of that weakness early, which is why I was so focused on going in 2 or 4. All right, Tezuka takes a little while on that move, though it might have been that I just didn't reload, but he does find it, and he will get the win, combos through to take it 6-4. A nice win for Tezuka. Interesting games from these two. I think maybe it's because I'm watching not live and can take a further out view of the concepts of what's going on. But I think these were both really interesting examples of diagonal situations where lots of the plays set up combo potential on diagonals and how to handle that and when we don't want to be handling that. And Tezuka ends up getting the point here. I really liked how both played the last game. This one, I'm really skeptical of that move in 1 that Cookie made. And then I don't know if 2 was tying, but I think 2 was the only move that could tie. All right, we'll stop there. Nice games though. I really enjoyed these two from Cookie and Tezuka.